So you actually stop calling expireds after coming to the Do More Deals Summit and learning some new lead sources and some new strategies, and you're actually doing more business, taking more listings and making more money.
Yep, 100%.
For a lot of people can seem like blasphemy, but it doesn't make it any less true. Right. Business is really about just strategy and people and making sure we have a superior strategy. And I love that for you, dude. And we're going to get into all of that. For those that are kind of out there watching, I thought it would be helpful or useful to give them a little bit of background in that evolution of how you ended up, embracing these types of techniques and strategies. So you've been selling real estate for a while.
Correct. Yeah. This is my 9th year in real estate.
Which is crazy because even though you look like a little guy, you're actually 28, dude, married, have a kid, and you started when you were like 19. Is that right?
Yeah, I was actually in college at the time and also working at Jimmy John's as well. And my sister, in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of just like, doing the prereqs, and I was going for business administration. And she comes home one day and she's like, somebody told her she should be a realtor. And she was like, you should come do it with me. Like, let's do the class together. Let's go be realtors together. Let's try it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then she's like, well, just come to the career night. It's on Wednesday and they're going to talk about the business. I said, okay, I'll go. So I ended up going, and the instructor talked about how the business works, how, the more work you put in, the more compensated you get. And that is like what sold me. And he was like, there's no cap. Like, the harder you work, the more you'll get paid and this and that. And he's like, it's all on you. And I'm like, so.
That's so cool. Is she still in real estate or no?
She's not actually. So we got into it, and she was like, I hate this. This is not for me. She got out. She's in the medical field now.
Oh, that's so cool, man. And then, that first year was rough, right? Like for most agents, you just didn't know what you were doing. You were getting poor information. Hey, do some floor time, go smile at people at Publix. You know what I mean? and that resulted in like not good outcomes, right?
Yeah, I used to sit there and they would be like floor time, open houses, go hand out your business card at Publix, wear your name tag. So when you're in line, people will see you're a realtor and want to use you. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing all these things. And I'm like, it's not working. Like, it's just not. And I'm looking at all these other realtors. I'm like, how do they sell houses? And I'd ask them and they'd say the same thing. Like, oh, you got to do open houses. You got to go do floor time. You got to do this. And I'm like, okay. And eventually a guy in my office, the top agent, was basically like, man, you're here all the time. I see you doing all these different things. Like, do you really want to do this business, or like, what's your goal? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. And he ended up making me a buyer's agent on his team. And he was like, I'll teach you. He was the number one guy in our office. And he was like, I'll teach you the business. Like, come be a buyer's agent for me. We'll start you off with buyers and I'll teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah, it's interesting because that was similar for me. I was actually a buyer's agent on somebody's team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then similarly, because I know we've talked about it before, I started to do transactions and was like, all right, let's get into the listing side, because that's what I want to focus on, right? That's where all the leverage is. And for 2 years, you were on that guy's team and you were doing deals, and you came to the same conclusion. And what I share with people regularly is like, it's okay. It's human nature. People usually don't want what's best for you. They want the version of you that serves them best. And, there was a little bit of resistance there, just like there was with me. And then you were like, nah, dude, I'm good. I'm going to go figure this out. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly like that.
Yeah. And the figuring it out part, though, required that you get, proximity to kind of like a guide, which you did, and who could teach you kind of the skill sets of what to say and how to say it, where to focus in terms of lead gen. And initially that focus was on things like expireds. And,
Correct.
At that time you started to produce some pretty good outcomes. You started taking, a couple listings a month, 2-3 listings a month on a regular basis. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. It was, basically expireds, FSBOs, circle prospecting, your database. And I started hitting that pretty heavily, and it was successful. Like, it worked. I was taking 2-3 listings a month on average. And then slowly, to go from like 2 to 3, then like 3 was like my number. Then it was like 3 to 4, kind of like slowly as the years went on, like started growing. But I felt like I hit a ceiling after a couple of years, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing, 40, 45 transactions, 2-3 years straight. How come I'm not breaking that barrier? Like, I feel like there's something more. And the only answer they kept giving me was like, well, just keep working harder, keep making those calls. And I'm like, and then the market shifted, and it's like, the expired who expired now needs to get like $30,000 less than what he thought he could get. So it's like, we're going in the wrong direction. And it's like, the FSBOs I was chasing, like, they weren't really that motivated. They're all like, well, if it sells, it sells. Like, I don't care. I don't need to move. But I'm like, okay, they're like $100,000 overpriced. So I was like, there's got to be something else. There's got to be another way.
And
100%.
what you were experiencing is like, hey, this is true. At the same time, I'm plateauing. And it's not
Right.
for a lack of ambition. It's not for a lack of work ethic. You'll stand in the room and make calls till 7 o'clock at night. It was the issue is you were starting to bump up against this idea of making data-driven decisions around lead sources. So in other words, if I'm going to be spending the time, wouldn't it logically, practically make sense to be swimming in pools of leads, let's say, that have higher densities of motivated qualified sellers?
100%.
That's right. And you kept going back to them being like, hey, kind of what's the answer? Like, what should I be doing? And it was just like, make more contacts, make more calls. And that was really it.
Yeah, it was make more contacts, make more calls, which I'm okay doing, right? And it was also like your mind, they would be like, oh, well, you don't believe you can do more. I'm like, I do.
hey, no, I do. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I do. And they're like, no, I don't think you do. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I feel like I could do more, but I'm doing everything you're telling me. It's just, I don't know. There's like this, we got to work more. I'm like, I'm hitting calls 7 days a week. Like I'm not on the phone Saturday, 12 hours a day, but I'm on from like 9 to 1. Like,
Yeah. Like a lazy mind's answer is just to work harder.
100%.
A more sophisticated mind says, what tools, what resources, what lead sources, what new skills could I learn so I could do more with less? What I'm aware of is business is just strategy and people. So really what you were bumping up against is like, hey, this strategy, it's not that it's bad, it works. It's not going to help me to get to where I want to go. And then you start to look online, right? Start to go to YouTube and start to look for some answers there. Is that right?
Yeah, I started following a lot of your stuff on Instagram and on YouTube, and I started applying what you were saying in the videos, and I noticed I was getting results. And I'm like, okay, this is working. So this is working. I can keep applying it. And then eventually, one of my buddies in the mastermind group reached out to me and was like, oh, Aaron's doing an event near you down in Fort Lauderdale. You should go. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the event, check it out and see what it's about. And then I went, but I already had been watching you for like maybe 3-4 months prior to that. And the stuff you were saying in the videos was working for me. So I'm like, let me see what this guy's all about. And I ended up going to the Do More Deal Summit. I would say what I heard at the event was like, I felt like everybody kind of sounded like they were in the position I was in. Like they felt like they were just being told work harder. They felt like they were hitting a ceiling. I also saw different ways to get business and open up different ways to earn more revenue. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for all that, And then I heard like different, when you did the panel and everybody was talking, I'm like, man, a lot of these guys are saying like they were in the same position I was in, but years ago before they came to work with you and made the switch. And like, I feel the exact same way. Like exactly what they're saying is what I feel like right now today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it spoke directly to your experience. Plus you were getting information as far as like these different places to be looking as far as leads that have higher densities and motivated qualified sellers. 7 times said is once heard. So you did decide very quickly, to get proximity. So you're like, hey man, I want to partner. So we did. And that was great. And then you got into the ecosystem. And then as you get into the ecosystem, I kept kind of repeating to you like, hey, this is a thing. And you're bumping into other people like Jose and Idelis in the organization. And then you started to actually apply, right, some of these strategies. One of them specifically being cash offer leads. And it does require you spend money, agents. At the same time, we're spending money on seller leads, not buyer leads. And these are people that have already raised their hand and say, I'm interested in selling my home and I want a cash offer. Now, what I shared with you at the Do More Deal Summit is that these lead sources, because there's only a handful of ways to increase business. One is to increase leads. Second is to increase conversion. So by increasing leads, right, these types of leads of people that raise their hand, the vast majority of them are not going to want a cash offer because they do want to sell. They do want a cash offer, but they want it at a retail price. So for those homes, you just go list them. Great. And then for the ones that actually do want cash offers, you could put together these creative deals like wholesale, sub 2, novation, performance listings, and the rips there are enormous. So what will happen, what I shared with you at the Do More Deal Summit, is like, hey, here's what's going to happen. Your retail business will go up. You'll take more listings. And then simultaneously, what will happen is because the rips on that creative stuff are so big, you'll create this additional 6+ figures of revenue that was sitting there to be got. And that's actually what's transpiring for you, isn't it?
100%. So I've implemented the cash offer script with my callers this is probably like the 3rd month now. And I've gone on 10 appointments. So I've set more, but obviously with pre-qualifying, you cancel, sure, they cancel you. But I've sat on 10. Out of the 10, I took 4 listings and then 3 I did a wholesale deal with. So it's
Right.
7 for 10, 3 being wholesale, and then 4 being like turning it into a listing.
That's right. So everybody who's watching, pay attention. He said 7 for 10, right? 4 listings. So listing inventory is going up, right? The amount of listings being taken are going up, and 3 different creative deals. And I'm imagining cumulatively between commissions and the assignment fees and things of that nature, it's well over 6 figures. Yes.
Yeah, so I did the math actually. Between the 2, it comes out to a total of 110,000.
$110,000, all because you decided to apply something new. Because what I share with people all the time is the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind.
Yep.
And what I see, and you see it too, is that so many people's mind are just completely closed, clamped shut.
Yep.
Right? To something different. And what's true is that our mind is really what sees things. So if my mind is blind to possibility, my eyes will be blind to opportunity. There'll literally be something right in front of me and I just won't be able to take advantage of it. The hard part is conversion. So there was this learning process because you were basically stacking skills, right? So you learned how to prospect, pre-qualify, go on appointments, handle objections, close, get price reductions, negotiate deals. What we're doing is we're adding product knowledge. Right. And I know for a lot of agents, a friction point here is kind of going away from like, hey, I only have one solution, which is we list it.
Right.
2, being open to other solutions. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that transition for you.
Yeah, I think it was, definitely more product knowledge. And then also, like, obviously everything we follow is a script. So I had to learn new scripts, right? Because if they're saying, yes, I'm open to a cash offer, how do you convert them to a listing?
Yeah.
So I actually fumbled a couple of the first opportunities I had, and they were like canceled on me. They want somebody else. And I started role playing within somebody in the ecosystem. We started role playing it, and who's more successful than I am with the cash offer leads that are coming in. And I role played with him, and I would give him my calls. We'd role play back and forth. And as time went on, I got a little bit better. I improved, and then eventually I was able to start converting and going on appointments. Also, another big thing too was ideally joining her calls as well, and being part of her community has helped a lot of what I'm able to learn and kind of pull from that. And we actually did a call together where she closed somebody over the phone for a wholesale deal. It was an hour-long call. She was at the airport, and it was smooth, like butter. It was so smooth, and I'm like, she got me to do a DocuSign, got the price we were trying to get, and locked it up. And I'm like, man, this is impressive.
This is impressive, dude. Yeah, and I love that. That's the whole purpose and mission behind creating this ecosystem, where it can serve as a mechanism that creates opportunities, for those that are in close proximity to us and are partnered with us. So you went down the route. So for anybody who's considering going down this route, one, you have to recognize that you're probably not going to be good at it at first. Daniel's like, I fumbled the first couple because I didn't, that transition of taking off the hat of like, hey, I'm just interested in listing, to being open and having a conversation and asking questions and then having other products that you can provide is a challenging one. And it's mostly mental. And there's a little bit of tactical, like the skills. You started role playing with somebody in Elite Builders that does these types of deals and works these types of leads. So you can acquire that conversation and skill set. And then, for those who do partner with us, we have somebody in the community, Ideli's, who I personally coached for 2 years. And all she wanted to do was role play with me. And now she's a sales assassin. And you get access to her. She has a paid community that people pay her to learn, this aspect of the business. And because you get access to her, she does precisely that. She hopped on a phone, a lot like you were listening, spent an hour, locked the deal up. She makes an assignment fee, you make money, the seller's happy, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Open up some more opportunities, and what you're able to learn from the ecosystem, like creative, even the listing side, like your group coaching calls, phenomenal. Stuff I pull out of there are great. Jose's asked me anything, or just, like, I'm literally like taking notes as you both are talking, and I apply things that you say, and it's like, it works perfectly. I'm like, it makes sense why you've sold over 2,000. I think Jose's like, what, over 1,000, or is he?
Over 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, man, these guys, they definitely got experience. So it works, man. And I'm open-minded. There's things that you say that like literally like pierce my heart. like where you say it, I'm like, man, it hit me like a ton of bricks, like a truck just hit me. When you're like, the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. I'm like, I felt like I had a closed mind for a long time.
Yeah.
And then like you say, you said this too, like if hard work worked, or if hard work was the only thing, the donkey would own the farm.
That's right.
And I'm like, man, I felt like the donkey, bro.
You were the donkey, not feel like it. That's what, and the reason why that hit so hard is because you've had the experience. I had the experience, bro. I turned myself into somebody who could do 150, 200 deals a year. Like I was that guy.
Yeah.
But if hard work was all it took, the donkey would own the farm, bro. There's something else. I got to be thinking differently. So, like, what do you think is the biggest? Because I know, you still know a lot of people in the industry. So, like, what do you think is the biggest roadblock to people being open? Because clearly the proof is in the progress. Like, all they got to do is talk to you, and you're like, yeah, bro, I made like 6 figures just by applying this. And by the way, how much have you spent on leads?
So I don't buy leads. I have cold callers. So
Okay, well, so to generate the leads, how much have you spent?
in 3 months, 12,000.
Yeah, $12,000 to make 110.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, who wouldn't do that, bro? It's like a 10 times return. But people are like, no, bro, I'm good. I'm just gonna keep calling expires. Like, okay, I mean, I guess so. So what do you think is the biggest mental like block or barrier, or what do you think it is that really stops people from embracing this?
Well, you said this too. Another thing you said that kind of hit me like a truck when you were like, money has an addictive quality, right? Once you learn how to make money one way, you become addicted to it.
Yep.
Right. And I feel like I've seen people do that, not only in real estate, but in other businesses too.
Sure.
And I felt like I would do that too. Like I remember when I was like really heavy into prospecting and somebody would come with an idea and I'd be like, nope, I'm prospecting. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, nope, like I don't pay for leads. Sorry. Like,
yeah.
So, but I feel like you're kind of just in the midst of like working and you're doing deals and you're making money. So you're like, well, if it makes money and it works, it works. Like, why change it? Right.
Yep.
But that's, and again, the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. It's like, well, it works, but there could be a better way. Just like you said, 2 things can be true at the same time. What's more true or what's more
That's right.
accurate?
What's more true? And then being open. So like most people, like thinking is difficult. That's why most people just judge. So it's funny. Like I remember the story when you shared that, where there was a guy who, he was telling him like, hey, use it as a backhand. You know what I mean? Like do this. And he's like, no, I like to do this. And then the pro's like, hey, do it this way. And again, the guy's like, no, I like to do it this way. And then the guy comes up to the pro afterwards. He's like, doesn't that like bother you? Like that he does that? He's like, nah, dude, most people aren't interested in actual real answers. They just want to hear an echo. And the challenge is you have to be very mindful and careful about getting into an echo chamber where it's like, we're just all saying the same stuff, dude. Because the thing about business is we have this thing in our brain called resulting, which like is like, we think because something worked one time, it means it's always going to work. But the thing about business is environments change. So like I constantly, it's like this dichotomy of, yeah, this is working now, but I need to be scanning the landscape and gathering information and being open-minded enough to be like, yo, who's crushing it right now and why?
Well, I would look at results and I'm like, all right, so if this guy's doing X amount and he's on stage, like Jose, I pays you 3 million. And he's like, hey, do this, right? Like, I'm going to listen. I wrote it down in my notes. Like, I didn't implement it right away, but I listened, I wrote it down, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, right? I feel like certain people, like, they're going to be closed-minded because, again, they made money a certain way. So they're like, I don't want to try something new because this works, and it's works for so long. I'm going to keep doing it. And it's like, there could always be a better way. It's weird. Like, luckily, I was plateauing, right? And I was hitting my head against the ceiling. I was working so much, and I just had my son at the time, that I was like, all right, I want something different. Like, there's got to be something else. Because I tell my wife, I'm like, if I was actually like doing a little better, like I was like maybe improving and like I wasn't hitting my head on the ceiling, or maybe I didn't have my son, like I probably would still be in that environment.
That's right.
Which long term wouldn't be the best route for me.
Nah, it's almost like this invisible hand was like, hey, son, I got a little something better for you.
Yeah. And I was like frustrated. I was like upset.
Yeah.
Like, why is this not like, I got to work more and do this. I should be working. Like, but it was necessary, and I'm like so glad it happened to me, 100%.
And for those people that are like on the fence about learning this type of stuff, or maybe like coming to the next Do More Deal Summit in January, like what would you tell them?
I mean, I feel like it's all trial and error. Like you don't know until you know. Like just go, sit down, listen, try it. The worst thing that could happen is you go and you're like, it's not for me, right? But I feel like if you see the results that people are getting, it's going to be a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So then the vision for you moving forward, because we've talked about it frequently, you're going to continue to keep implementing what you're doing. Retail will go up, at some point in the future, there may be a point in which you kind of allow others to do the retail stuff with a split that makes it profitable, right? And building systems around that where the hook is the lead and people get to plug into your, back-end systems so that you can just do deals and throw them over their shoulder. And then continuing to focus on the creative stuff and build up both to where we get it to over $1 million in top line revenue.
That's the goal. Yep. That's literally what like I'm laser focused on right now. So my next step is to start in like adding PPL and PPC as well.
Mhm.
And then I even talked to a TV commercial company as well.
Yeah, let's go, bro. I was about to say it. I'm going to see my boy on TV. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's what like my like single focus is right now, laser focus on that. Just trying to, I want to be smart about it, right? Like obviously strategic, but like that's like what I'm focused on, right? Oh, by the way, I had no intention of switching at all. Like I was
none, right?
I was happy with my broker. Like it was cool. I had an office, like everything was fine. Like I wasn't like, I'm going to go maybe switch. Like I just went to hear you guys out and see what you guys were doing to help me do more deals, right?
Yeah.
Pick the perfect title for the event. And after day one, I'm at dinner with two guys that one that invited me, another guy who's in my office, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, I'm switching. I'm going to EXP. I'm joining Elite Builders, and they were like, "What?" I'm gonna spit their food out. And it was like at night one, I'm like, "No, I think this is a right move. Like I've seen enough." Like, "Oh, well, what do you mean?" And they start like questioning me. I'm like, "It's a no-brainer."
Which is so cool, yeah. And I think what's interesting about that is like nobody really pitched you like super hard on that because that's we're not doing that. It's more like just add value, add value, add value. And, I think whoever adds more value in the end wins. So,
well, even like with the closing technique that I was taught in the old environment, it was like close 8, 6 or 5, 6, 7 times. Like don't leave till they sign, right?
Yeah.
And like learning a lot of what you've said and applying in a lot of your recordings and your teachings and your coachings, it's like you're still closing, but you're just adding so much value. We're literally like I'm getting people to sign listing agreements, and it's almost like they're asking for the pen. Like, yeah, I'll sign. Like, when can we start? Or before it was like I had to kind of like really drill them. It got confrontational. It felt weird. Like, but I got signed. Like now it's like I'm walking out. And I'm like, that was so like frictionless.
Yes.
It's like a whole different way to approach the whole entire. But again, it's like what you said, just add value. Like I'm just adding value now from the rip, and it's like they're feeling it. Whoever adds more value wins, right?
That's right. And by learning these new skills, you're also like not only the skill sets of what to say and how to say it, where you're approaching things from the position of a guide, just looking to help them to solve their problem sort of thing. You're also, by adding product knowledge, adding value, because it's like, hey, I can help you in multiple different ways. Because what I think is really interesting, I found it fascinating to me that all of these big platforms had cash offer programs. It's like, why is that? You start to think, kind of like you. I'm like, why are they doing that? And then it's like, oh, here's why they're doing it. Because they know that only 5% of the time do people take the cash offer. The other 95% of the time, they have seller leads that they sell to you for 30 to 45%, which is nuts, dude, because you're paying like $5,000 for one lead. It's crazy, right? So it's like, wouldn't it be logical and practical to create a cash offer program for yourself? The answer is yes. And then adding product knowledge to it, it's like, yeah, dude, we can list it. Fine. We can definitely help you do that. We have a real estate company. We have the good fortune of helping, 50 to 100 people every single year. If you're open to working with us in that capacity, or they're like, no, dude, I don't care what you say, because we've all been on listing appointments. Hey, I don't care if you walk on water, bro. I'm not listing the property. I don't care what you say. I don't care. Yep. I just don't want to. Okay, great. And most of us are like, well, like we can still do it. We get in like the dog and pony, like dancing bear, like, come on. We get all convinced mode instead of just being like, okay, what do you want? And they're like, well, I want this. And you're like, all right, great, let's do this. But if I don't know how to do this, then I walk out and somebody else does it and they make the money, right?
Yeah. Well, what's funny? Before I came to Elite Builders and the Do More Deal Summit, there was a handful of times where I would have a listing appointment set, right? Like, let's say for Friday, and it's like a Tuesday. Okay. I would call Friday morning to confirm the appointment. And they're like, oh, I don't even want a cash offer. Like, I'm good. I went with an investor. And I'm like, and I was like, you want an investor? I was like, would you sell it for? Sort of like for like 80 grand under what we could have listed it for. And I'm like, we could have got you more. Like, nah, I don't want to do it showings. I'm done. I need the money. I'm out of here. And I'm like, all right. And I would hang up and I'm like, why would somebody go with the cash? Like, I could get them more money. But now I'm not thinking like a realtor or just like a salesperson. I'm thinking as a principal, a business owner. And now I can provide that option for them. And I know that product knowledge. It makes sense. Some people, they don't have the time to wait. They're really in a bind. They need to go. They want the money. They don't want to deal with showings, whatever the case may be, right? They have open permits so they don't want to close out. And now it makes so much more sense. And I'm able to give them both options.
That's right. And it's just so incomprehensible for most agents to acknowledge the truth, which is that some people don't care, bro. They just want what they want. And it's like, okay, instead of fighting with them, just give it to them.
Yeah, I can feel the difference, even with like the books I've been reading that you've been recommending, which have all been phenomenal. And like the way like I approach like my day now, it's not like, oh, I'm a realtor salesperson. It's like, okay, I'm a business owner. I'm a real estate professional. And I'm definitely feeling the difference 100%.
There's immense power in proximity. So maybe you could talk about that, like getting proximity to me and Jose and others in the organization. Like, how has that served you and helped you?
Proximity is definitely power. So I read in a book, it said like, you're the average of the people you hang out with the most. And you're really limited to who you have exposure to, right? Mm-hmm. So being around you guys, whether it's in person like Sedona, which was phenomenal, or it's, the Do More Deal Summit, or it's just virtual, like every Wednesday, the group coaching call, Friday with Jose, getting that proximity and learning and just thinking differently, especially for people who are further down the path or make a lot more money than me, they can teach you so much. And like the wealth of knowledge you guys have, not just like, because like you have you, right? But then you have the whole leap builders. It's like different branches of what you can get and different experiences, different perspectives, different ways to say certain thing, different way to like what works better, PPL or PPC. Like it's literally insane how much knowledge you can pull away and soak from. To me personally, was the best event I've been to, like real estate wise, hands down.
Really?
Hands down, best event. I told my wife, I was like, I wish I would have known about you guys like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and appreciate you, your guidance, your guys' ecosystem, putting this whole thing together, man. And like I said, it's already, 110 grand in like 3 months. Obviously, every deal hasn't closed yet, but like the potential GCI is like 110.
Yeah, and here's what's wild: you didn't pay like $25,000 or $30,000 to be in a mastermind.
That's what I'm saying. Some people like talk the talk, some people walk the walk. Like I told my wife after the event and the Do More Deal Summit, I was like, because I didn't even call her to tell her I was switching. I just switched.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I was like, hey, I switched brokerages. She was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I like gave her the rundown. And I was like, these guys, I can tell, like they walk the walk, like they're legit, Like I've been in business for a while. I've been around a lot of people like who try to sell you stuff that like empty promises. I'm like, you can tell like this whole team is like legit. I can tell. I can see it. I can feel it. People I talk to, the way they're talking, the way they're moving. Like if I partner with these guys, like proximity is power. I will be more successful 100%.
I agree. Yeah. And you're a testimony to that. I love that for you, that you've made an extra 6 figures. Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure, man. And it's going to be, again, exciting to watch you to continue to develop and grow as not only a real estate professional, but also as a leader. So if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to ask you any questions about this stuff, how can they find you? If I want to send you a referral, how can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram as Daniel Carrara Realtor, or they could even call me. My number is 772-418-5251.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you at an event coming up soon. I know you'll be at the Do More Deals Summit. And if anybody who's watching this sees him at the Do More Deals Summit, go up to him and tell him, hey, man, I watched your video and it was helpful, because that's what we're all about, is adding value. So I appreciate you, brother.
Likewise, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron.
Let me ask you a question. When you do a wholesale for seller financing, how do you guys make money on that?
You can buy yourself, number one. Like, that's how you always kind of want to study, like, how can I buy this myself? If that doesn't work, then it would be like, how can I wholesale it? And then if that doesn't work, okay, is this a listing?
Yeah, and or could I find an investor, plug them in, and get equity?
You can also sell the note,
Put yourself into the